Hello, this is Barbara Kolm again, and we are running the Free Market Roadshow in Lisbon, and I have José Fontão with me. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
José is a graduate from police sciences at the Instituto Superior this is a little bit difficult, but
Public security.
Public security. This is one thing. And the other most important thing, that is the reason also why I thought we should talk, is you joined the police for specializing on anti-money laundering and corruption prevention. And I was just talking with one of our colleagues about CBDCs and about cash, and the European Commission and actually also the Parliament gave another ceiling to the use of cash and limiting it to 10,000 euros. And also they eliminated the 500 euro bill because of fraud and because of terrorism, etc., etc. So I'm just going right into this question. Do you think this makes sense to limit the use of cash in order to fight any anti-money laundering, to fight money laundering and to fight terrorism?
Yeah, it's part of the approach to anti-money laundering is to limit the use of cash. Actually, the European directive sets the limit on 10,000, but in Portugal it's for most of the cases 3,000, because it's easy to launder cash if you have the ability, for instance, to buy a house in cash.
Yeah,
it's very easy to launder money. Although on the other hand of it, there's this privacy concern, anonymity, the right to be anonymous in your life, and so there has to be a balance between what we can do to limit money laundering and the freedom each person should have to do whatever they like. The European Union has an approach to anti-money laundering that's fairly common to all the countries. And we are about to see the next directive, the sixth directive on anti-money laundering, that will try to close the gaps that we had. One of them, and now on the other end of the spectrum, to high-level corruption and high-profile cases of transnational corruption.
Yeah. So, but you know, if we look at this high-level corruption, and we were just looking into the index where Portugal is ranking number 61, I think.
61 points in 34th.
In 34th, and out of 180 countries from the Transparency International Index. So, do you see that Portugal has improved over the past years with regards to anti-money laundering on the one hand and the corruption cases you see on the other hand?
What the Transparency International Index says about corruption for Portugal is basically we're going sideways. We're not improving, we're not getting dramatically worse, we're just going sideways.
Okay.
Which, in my perspective, as I'm also, didn't mention in the beginning, the Vice President of Transparency International Portugal, it's a concern because there are ways to improve the fight against corruption. Less corruption means better democracy, better institutions, a better life for citizens. Yeah. And Portugal could and should do more. There's no magical receipt. There are several steps that are known. The group of countries against corruption has a series of recommendations, and Portugal is lagging behind on implementation for several years now. So we could be in a much better position with less corruption if there was a political will to move in that
Okay,
direction.
so it's the question of political will to move in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is, because we don't lack, and this is also known, we don't lack laws for fighting against corruption. What we lack is the implementation of those laws
And execution.
and the execution of the laws and their consequences. So if there was political will, I'm sure that the laws would be better enforced, and therefore the fight against corruption would be improved.
Would be won in the end.
Never won. It's never won. It's you never eliminate
Totally,
any risk,
yeah.
but it could be reduced.
But from a general perspective, Portuguese have always been very innovative, very creative. When you conquered the world, literally, or out of Lisbon, the world has been conquered and has new continents have been detected, and great things. Free trade has been approved. So from this perspective, are there any innovative ideas that we can use in order to fight corruption or any money laundering or?
Well, there are several things that could be done. If you ask me from a creative point of view and a technological point of view, the main thing I would say would be to use technology to make public institutions more transparent.
Yeah.
There are a huge amount of data in public administration, in public institutions, that if they could become public, respecting privacy and all that, but if they could become accessible to the general public in a tech-savvy way, that society could use it to scrutinize and to improve, I think that would be a great innovation. But still, I don't see political will to move in that direction.
Okay, so we will have to work on the political will and make sure people understand.
We need to work in a way that the lack of political will is detrimental to winning political elections.
Okay, well that's very good, and let's look at the final question, because you are the director of the anti-money laundering entity in one of the big four companies. So do you also have some private ideas or private ideas that how you can work with the public sector in order to improve this situation?
Yeah, actually in Portugal there's a part of the anti-money laundering enforcement of the law is on private entities. Actually, my company, PwC, is an obliged entity to apply anti-money laundering laws. And what I think the private sector could do, because integrity is good business. Yeah. Integrity is good business. It's good for business, unless you are in a very corrupt country, in which case it could not be the case. But in Europe in general, integrity is good business, and companies should understand that perspective. And when companies enforce anti-money laundering laws, anti-corruption laws, and they share their best practices with the public sector, that could be an improvement. And
it's again the division of labor. Division of labor, which helps.
Yeah, in the sense that it's a shared responsibility. Yeah. It's not. We should not look to the fight against corruption and money laundering as a public duty. It's a society duty. Yeah. That should be enforced or should be pursued by both public and private entities.
Well, wonderful. So we have a solution here in place. Let's keep fingers crossed, Jose, that we can match it, that we can solve it actually. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much
for all the work that you do. And I'm looking forward to our panel and to discussing further. And thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.